Hi, everybody. I'm Katharine Clark, the Healthy RN, and I'm here with my dear friend and sister from another mother, Barbara Swanson. Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Catherine. Hi, everybody.
You know, Barbara's written a book about functional medicine, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You know, at the heart of functional medicine is food, and her book is called Beyond Food, the Handbook of Functional Nutrition. And today in this video, Barbara is going to break it down and do one of the pillars from her book, and this one is superfood. Right, Barbara?
Absolutely.
So if
Thank.
you want to get your PowerPoint up and we'll get going.
That sounds great to me. Hi, folks. I'm going to get my PowerPoint up and we'll get started here. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us again on our series on different types of information that has to do with nutrition and functional nutrition in particular and how it affects our health. So today I'm focusing on one particular superfood, which is blue-green algae. I'm going to talk a little bit about what a superfood is first, however. So a superfood, in my definition, is a food that offers a lot of various micronutrients for not a lot of calories. I went over this in my previous presentation, which you can see online if you want to look through what we have posted, and it's the second one we did. But I'm focusing on algae because it is quite literally Earth's first food. Our genes, our DNA, the template for what we have in our DNA was quite literally built upon Earth's first food, or blue-green algae. It was the first life on the planet that actually began to change the atmosphere. It created enough oxygen for us as a species to survive.
Yeah, Barbara,
Yes.
I have my Star Trek stamps here that the post office has issued. I'm a Trekkie, and in The Next Generation, Q had zapped Picard back to where life began on planet Earth, and he was putting him to the test. If Picard flunked the test, there would be no life on planet Earth. And as they looked down in a puddle of water on some lava rocks, there was blue-green algae forming, and that was the beginning of life on Earth. And we're just really lucky that Picard solved the riddle and got that right, or we wouldn't be here today.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Catherine. Oh my gosh. So what I'm going to talk about today are the advantages of adding a really ancient pillar, not just a pillar of functional nutrition, but a pillar of life itself, to your diet today. So nature's most perfect food is, in my opinion, freshwater blue-green microalgae. There are several types of edible blue-green microalgae, and of course there's also toxic microalgae. Especially in the summertime, you see a lot of headlines about toxic blue-green algae, as if all blue-green algae are toxic, but that's not accurate.
Well, you know, there are lots of plants. Some
Yeah.
plants are poisonous. There's poison ivy, there's hemlock, which will kill you, but there are carrots and tomatoes, which are very good for you. And the same is true in the microalgae kingdom. There's thousands, tens of thousands of different kinds, and some of them aren't good for you. And this one that you're talking about, the blue-green, and I know you're going to get into it even more, is, in my opinion, the most nutritious food you can eat.
Absolutely, and we're not the only ones to say that. Science itself will tell you that blue-green algae is the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. So you need to have an edible algae, first of all, but then you need to have quality control algae. But this presentation is really about what you get in that product that makes it so important. And we are talking in particular about Aphanizomenon floss aqua, or AFA. It grows wild in a very unique ecosystem. It has grown wild around the world in different lakes. And spirulina used to grow wild around the world in different lakes. AFA and spirulina both have been grown in Africa, in different lakes in Central America and South America up at higher levels. And now currently AFA grows wild in Oregon, and it is the only lake at this time that has a pure enough bloom, which means a single species bloom, in water that's clean enough, that is not polluted, to allow for safe harvesting. This particular ecosystem, which we can give you sources and information later if you're interested, are fed by pure volcanic springs and rivers. It's wild harvested, and it is certified organic. In contrast, spirulina is, any spirulina you get today is farmed. It's in, of course, that means it's a man-made pond. So the nutrients are going to be limited to what is being added to the pond and in what form. I mean, you can literally add chemical fertilizers and grow spirulina, and unfortunately, there are brands that will do that. So very few brands of spirulina actually qualify for organic certification, and none of them are wild or wild harvested, which has its own benefit, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then the third edible algae many people are used to seeing is called chlorella. Chlorella is also farmed in man-made ponds. Again, the nutrients are limited to what's being added. But chlorella is not a blue-green algae, it's a green algae, which means it's a true plant, and therefore it has a cellulose cell wall, but it's a microalgae. It's an extremely small cell. So bottom line is, if the chlorella has not been broken open, if that cellulose cell wall has not been broken open, you can't actually even access the nutrients. And I know, Katharine, you've talked about how important that is.
Yes, well, spirulina and chlorella are wonderful sources of nutrients if you know the source that you're getting them from. And of course, the same is true of the aphanosamenon phenomenon that you're talking about. But I know you're going to talk about the fact that it's wild and the amazing life force potential that comes along with that fact over farmed food.
In fact, let's just do that right now, because it really is important. Wild foods are under constant stressors, and in particular, blue-green algae for billions of years has had to survive incredible amounts of direct radiation, indirect radiation, temperature fluctuations, other changes in weather patterns and stressors. And what the algae has done is it has created bypasses to withstand these stressors, and these bypasses are plant nutrients. And when we ingest them, they become nutrients for us to withstand stressors in our lives. That type of mechanism is called a bioadaptogen or adaptogenic food. Katharine,
those are the kind of foods I want to eat.
Yeah, there's not a lot of adaptogenic foods out there, are there?
No.
No, it's quite rare. And a wild adaptogenic food is even more rare. In fact, if you study or know about traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, it is their belief that eating a wild food gives you up to 800 times more nutritive value than eating farmed foods, which when you think about it, a farmed food is coddled, the land is prepared, it's weeded, it's planted at the right time, it's nurtured with watering, it's nurtured by being planted in the right type of sun and shade percentage. These are foods that do not have to withstand the level of stressors any kind of wild food will. And that's not a bad thing. It means that we have food that, over centuries, especially some of these more ancient farmed foods, they become heirloom foods that our bodies recognize on a genetic level. But some of the newer foods that have been created in the last 10 or 20 years, they are not nearly so nutritive to us and to our DNA. So AFA, some of the benefits that make it different than the other algae is that it contains proven bioactive vitamin B12. This is a big deal. Most Americans are pretty critically low in B12 or cyanocobalamin. And, there's a lot of talk about, you have to have the right kind and, you can't get it from certain foods. But the truth is microalgae is microcellular. And all of the nutrients in this extremely minute single-celled organism are extremely small. And that makes it much more bioactive for the human body. Additionally, AFA contains PEA. This is an amino acid peptide, phenylethylalanine, and that is proven to support healthy brain function, and studies show that it has immune-enhancing activity, circulatory health benefits, and is a powerful antioxidant as well. Most spirulina, the B12, is not proven to be human active, and in fact can be it can be what they call bioidentical, which means not bioidentical. What's the word I'm looking for, Catherine? It actually blocks your B12 channels from absorbing good B12 if you're not careful. So spirulina is not a good source of B12, is really what I'm trying to say. It does not contain phenylethylalanine, PEA, and there have not been studies done on those immune function benefits in spirulina. Chlorella, because it's not a blue-green algae, has no PEA and no B12, and there are limitations in some of the other micronutrients that are found in blue-green algae. Anything you want to add, Catherine?
No, you're doing great.
So let's take a look. What has 6 times more antioxidants than blueberries? And the truth is, these numbers are very low. It's actually way more than 6 times, but I did a lot of research before I created this infographic. And the research I did, I took into account at least 4 different third-party sources. And so I took the lowest average of all the sources I could find because I wanted to be conservative. 6 times more antioxidant than blueberries, 22 times the iron of spinach, twice the vitamin B12 of spirulina or beef, twice the protein of beef, more chlorophyll than wheatgrass juice, 6 times more calcium than chocolate, and 9 times the beta carotene of carrots. It's the oldest life on earth, and that is AFA algae. So the micronutrients found in AFA include all 20 amino acids. Now, we can create a certain number of amino acids in our body, but we have what are called essential amino acids, which means we have to get them from our diet. And common knowledge will say those amino acids have to be found in meat, but that's not true. You can get all your essential amino acids needs met by food combining or by eating AFA algae, because all the essential amino acids are in AFA. And not only are they in AFA, their balance that they have is a near exact match to mother's milk, which tells you what a phenomenally nutritive food this is for humans. It contains all the vitamins, even a very small amount of D2. It has omega-6 and omega-3 essential fatty acids. And again, the balance of these is nearly identical to the ideal human balance. It has many different types of powerful antioxidants, dozens of microminerals. It has a glyconutrient cell wall, which is a complex sugar protein, which science is showing has some real strong energy benefits to the human body. It has powerful pigments, and then many, many more nutrients that we know we have not fully been able to discover. This is a picture, a chart showing the ideal amino acid profile found in mother's milk, which is this purplish line. And then the amino acid, that essential amino acid, the amount of it found in AFA algae. And if you take a look, you can see how very closely they align. And again, it's just a picture of the power of this food to feed your cells. So algae has beta carotene, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12, C, D, E, H, K, and inositol. And we also have K2, which is very important for the use of D3, along with actually building bone when you get calcium in your body. Essential fatty acids in AFA. I'm not going to go through all these numbers, but what is important is this 38 to 8%. 38% to 8%. This is a balance that's very close to the ideal human balance. And there's been a lot of research done on the need for essential fatty acids and how important they are. And so you can buy fatty acid supplements, especially from fish, that are nearly 100% of omega-3s. The problem with this is science is just now really figuring out that actually doesn't work very well. The body actually doesn't like a pure diet of one over the other. The balance is what the body needs. And we get back to what Katharine and I talk about and emphasize over and over, which it is the balance of whole foods that is the magic. No single isolate will ever match a whole food. This is a partial list of the many microminerals found in AFA. All of these are important. There's 7 macrominerals the body has to have, and that includes, of course, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, manganese, iodine. There's several minerals we have to have in large amounts, and we need to get that from our diet. But the microminerals are absolutely essential for many of the more complex functions on a cellular level. And many people, if not most, in America in particular, are severely deficient in one or more microminerals, which long term begins to affect many different systems in your body, starting with your immune function. Different antioxidants found in this algae include chlorophyll, which is a green pigment. Phycocyanin is a blue pigment. Phycocyanobulin is another blue pigment. Lutein is a yellow-red pigment. Zeaxanthin is another red pigment. Glutathione is an innate antioxidant, which is found in the body and created in the body, but also happens to be found in AFA. Superoxide dismutase is another antioxidant, which is really important in the body. PEA, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and immunon, which is a polysaccharide or complex sugar. And it's called immunon because it has a direct effect on your immune system. So it's been described by science by what it does. So let's take a look at chlorophyll. This is the natural green pigment found in almost all plants. It is shown to prevent and reduce the damage from carcinogenic substances, including damage to DNA. It can actually help prevent and repair DNA damage. It has an antioxidant effect against damage that is induced by carcinogens that you may have been exposed to at work or during your day. And it has therapeutic effects when used in combating certain cancers. So there are studies showing that chlorophyll can help you prevent and recover from even so difficult an immune issue as a cancer. Phycocyanin is the blue pigment found in blue-green algae. It works in conjunction with chlorophyll. It is an extremely powerful antioxidant. It has strong anti-inflammatory properties, and it is shown to help protect healthy brain and nerve function. This is something that those of us who have used this product for a while, I know that I have certainly received phenomenal brain health benefits.
Well, Barbara, blueberries are kind of the rule of thumb for antioxidants. They're one of the only blue foods that we actually eat. When you think about blue foods, you can't think of very many of them. This is actually one of the more rare pigments to be found in our food. And yet its benefits, as you mentioned, particularly for brain function, is so important, and it goes along with the Ayurvedic system of medicine, which is even older than Chinese medicine, where they say that the blue color has to do with the throat and the pineal and pituitary glands, and actually your spiritual awareness, your ability to express yourself as a spiritual being. So it's a pretty phenomenal nutrient to be found in the blue-green algae. And like you said, because they're all so small, they're very absorbable, very bioavailable to our body.
You bring up such an important part, that this blue color, going back in traditional medicines, thousands and thousands of years, they knew it affected the brain. And science is only just now beginning to catch up and prove how this happens. And it is proving that, yes, indeed, this blue pigment has a direct effect on brain and nerve function and those organs, including the pineal and pituitary gland. The last nutrient I want to talk about specifically is phenylethylamine, or PEA. It's also called the love molecule. And why is that, Katharine?
Because when you eat phenylethylamine, or when your body secretes phenylethylamine, you feel like you're in love.
It is the molecule that we excrete when we fall in love. What makes you feel happy, calm, joyful, excited, that's PEA. Your body and mind want it. It's as good as anything else that you can get. Studies show that PEA regulates neurons and transmits signals between neurons in your central nervous system. It enhances mood and focus. It reduces stress. It helps you feel calmer. And more recent studies have shown that PEA is a phenomenally effective antioxidant, much stronger than anybody had any belief about even 3 or 4 years ago. So here's a second nutrient that is definitely going to affect and support healthy brain function. And thank you. This is the short, I say video because it's available in a video format for you guys. And we are going to go on to another video soon, and you'll be able to watch that when we post it. I hope you enjoy your day, everybody. Katharine, back to you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And I want to point out the reason that you mentioned the AFA as the superfood that you discussed in the superfood section is it's really the standard or the rule by which you can measure all other superfoods that you can think of in terms of their nutrient ability and their effect in empowering healing of the body. And it's number one. So thank you so much. If y'all have liked the video, please go down below and check like. If you want to share the video, please do. And if you have any comments or questions, please just go down and make those or contact Barbara, or I will be happy to discuss this with you. So have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.